Who don't learn from history are bound to repeat their mistakes, and the best way to preserve history is to record it in writing. The chairman of the editorial board of the Nation newspaper, Omatseye, is set to launch a book on how President Bola Tinubu became the country's #1 citizen. The book, titled Beating All Odds, Diaries and Essays on how Bola Tinubu became president, will be unveiled in Abuja on Tuesday, the 12th of March 2024. In a statement, Omatseye said the book gives account and context to one of Nigeria's most tempestuous election seasons. The launch of the book will take place at the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Centre, Abuja. Before we go to Omatseye, who will be joining us in Abuja, let me take you up on Omatseye, saying that President Tinubu defied all odds. I remember us talking about these elections, general electioneering, the obedience, the attacks on you, and even Omatseye himself. What do you make of this book?
There are some individuals in this country who understand Asiwaju very well, who can write a 1 million-page book on Shehu Bola Tinubu, and Omatseye is one of them. He writes with accustomed ease, and he's also fearless. He doesn't care what to say about it. He's just similar to my boss, Bayo Onanuga. Bayo Onanuga doesn't care about what to say. He sticks to his guns, and he makes it clear that he's someone who will not bow to pressure. Omatseye is that kind of person. Once he believes in something, it's as tough as nails, and he's a very difficult, a dangerous customer to confront. So in this book, vintage Omatseye was on display. Just the same way he thinks, the same way he talks, is what he writes. Yes, not pulling punches, not holding back. He said that, let me quote, he said, "It was not Tinubu who set Peter Obi on a coalition course with his PDP. He did not set the party on fire with 5 governors led by the Rivers governor, Governor Wike, or Kwankwaso, who turned the Kano tide against PDP." It's basically trying to explain how Tinubu was able to exploit the division within the PDP and other parties to win. Right. And I've said before that if those parties had come together, they would have earned 14 million votes in that election. But because they continued to fight one another, they couldn't come together. That's the reason the APC won. Yeah. He also said Tinubu peered a rose-scented garden when others saw for him a forest of 1,000 demons. He said the Tinubu hoax and triumph dwarfed the false euphoria of the obedient rally in Lagos, which exposed the ethnic composition of Obi's followers. See, I'm not going to talk too much about a book that I want many people to read, get the privilege to read. But if you know Sam Omatseye very well, you can rest assured that vintage Sam has been massively reflected in this book.
Absolutely. DKB, before we go to Sam in Abuja, quickly, just your own reflection.
Well, the book to me is basically like a book called, written when Clinton won, remember, in living color, written by Anonymous. Everybody knew who wrote it. It's basically a book that will show you how things happen. A lot of writers get angry. You see it in the way they write. But Sam is just a man who writes in his own. He's very comfortable in his skin. So he doesn't really care. And that shows even when he's been attacked on social media. I remember there was a time he locked up the commentary section of his column, so that these people can seize the anger, because they could not get back to him. And it was a master stroke that gives you the time to read it at your leisure without the input of the before the toxins coming. And that to me was just the way Sam operates. I'm going to get this one out. It's not going to be deleted. It's not going to be tainted.
Yeah.
You are going to read it as a reader. So Nigeria said, best thing is to read it.
That's right.
Then come back and talk about it.
Right. Sam Omatseye, actually, let me bring you in, the vintage Sam Omatseye. Enter Sam Omatseye. It's good to see you, with your beautiful smile, always.
You are in a Kogi. This is an Igala cap that you are wearing.
Well,
about to add a
you have
second
to
wife
thank my wife for that.
Let me start by starting with your stance and literary prowess. It came to bear during electioneering, which forced you into isolation for about 4 months, and then you due to threats and calls for your life and all of that. Talk to us about what went through your mind during this period and how you poured all of these into writing.
Well, I wrote that piece not expecting the kind of firestorm of backlash that came from the obedient movement. When I wrote it, I didn't know that it was going to get that terribly infuriating to so many people. But I was home, and my wife told me that something is going on with your phone. It has been flashing and flashing for the past hour. I said, really? So I went to it. It was then I discovered that actually I was under attack. There were all kinds of language, all kinds of comments saying that they will come for my head, and that just a matter of time. One of them said he already knew where I was living and I was coming there. There were so many. Some people said they had already written my obituary. It was just a matter of fulfilling it. And things that were so terrible. And I was really taken aback by it, because it turned out that these people did not even understand the piece. And in one way, they were also fulfilling what I feared in the piece, especially those people who were supposed to be educated and enlightened. And some of them were my friends who turned 360 and became
ethnic champions.
People who had Biafran tendencies, who came out of the woodwork because of Obi. And I said, no. This is not acceptable. But then it got to a situation where I had to really go into hiding, because you have to be careful.
Let's leave all of that. Let's talk about your book. That one is water under the bridge. Let's talk about this book. What is this book about? Exactly. What can people expect to see in this book?
Yes, interestingly, the book is split into two. I was doing diaries during the election. Diaries week by week account of what was going on in the country, some of the things I heard that were under the table, and also it was also a kind of psychological history of the campaigns, because I was also recording the moods of various aspects of the campaign, those on the Tinubu camp, those in the obedient camp. It was a time of so many tensions. You had the Muslim hysteria, you had the Wike versus Atiku fight, you had the obedient upsurge. So you had all kinds of tendencies working throughout the campaign. Then we got to a situation where there was no money, there was no fuel, and then there was a problem with the Supreme Court. There was a problem of a Milocon. There was a problem with whether the election would take place or not, and so many things like that. I had to keep recording them. So that was the first part of it. The second part of it were a collection of my essays, which I tracked down from the time that Oshiomhole was removed as chairman of APC, because that's when the plot to stop Tinubu began. So I tracked them until the time of the primaries. So those are the two parts, of the time of the primaries, and up to about October, November, when the Supreme Court ruled. It was then I said, well, the story has come to an end. He has now been officially certified President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
You captured some of the factors that aided Asiwaju's victory, you talked about the disunity within the PDP that made Kwankwaso to leave and form his own party. The fact that Peter Obi didn't remain with PDP, which will have helped Atiku tremendously. Is the point you are making here simply that if all of those factors, all of those factors that you talked about had played against Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, would you say he would have won the election?
It is still speculative. I made a point in the book that if it was a straight fight between Asiwaju and Atiku, we will not be too sure how it might have panned out. Would those people who voted for Atiku in the southeast, so who voted for Obi in the southeast, will they have gone the way of Atiku? Would they have wanted a Fulani to take over from a Fulani? Would Atiku have invoked the pastors and those Christian movements against an Asiwaju, because many of those people who said they were against Asiwaju said it was because of the Muslim ticket? Would Atiku have in any way invoked any sort of passion of that sort? Would the equations have actually changed and new topics will have reverberated across the country as the election unfolded? Those things are still speculative. Would it have necessitated new strategies, given that it was just between a southern person and a northern person, and the factors that we had a lot of APC people in the north and governors in the north who themselves had decided that a Muslim Fulani should not hand over to a Muslim Fulani, that it was not even good for the north. How would we have navigated those points? Those things we will never know. They remain in the area of speculation.
The launch of your book is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
How have you gone with the preparations? I know you must have had sleepless nights preparing for this.
It's never easy to organize an event like this. It's usually enervating. You have to keep the phones working. You have to visit a lot of people. You have to take care of logistics. And by and large, you do your best and wait for the best to happen. That's what happens with events like this. I've never organized any event at this scale before, so this is also new for me.
You are someone who believes.
Optimistic though.
Asiwaju is both a friend to you and a leader in the real sense of the word.
Yes.
Do you still retain your confidence in his ability to change Nigeria? There are many people who are not convinced. Do you still retain that faith in him that this is a man who can get the job done?
Yes, I do. I really do. And I remember that when he became governor in the first month, in the first year and two, people were also making the noise that this job is too big for this man. But now people are saying that the job is actually so small that he wants to take on another job. But we'll see now. Let's give him that. By the time we are a year and a half into his a year and a half to two into his administration, people will start getting the sense of the direction. The direction is clear, but some people have not seen it yet. That the guy, what he wants to do first is to take care of the financial infrastructure of this country, which itself is what has been damaged, not only in the past 8 years, but for many, many years before that. That we have debt of about 130 trillion. That one administration alone printed 30 trillion, that's including the profit. We had 493 accounts abroad in various currencies, in various amounts, and all kinds of shenanigans and filth in the accounting system. He has to clear that, because it's like clearing an artery. You cannot have the artery clogged and still believe that you will be healthy. You're wasting your time. The heart is going to go. This man described the economy, that's Soludo, as a dead horse standing. The best metaphor ever to have anybody has used to describe the economy. But that's what we are seeing. That when we're talking about the rise in the value of the dollar and the rise of inflation, this is because for the first time we are seeing people who are looking at the economy and looking at the real root of where our problems are. Once those things are taken care of, the country will stabilize and will be on cruise control. But the surgical operation is taking place, and when you are in the surgical operation, you're almost half dead.
That's right.
You're almost half dead.
That's right.
So that is where we are in. And I think that once we get over all of this, we'll see something.
Most definitely, Nigerians are actually looking at the other side of this current administration's reform, so that Nigeria will be steered in the right direction. Veteran journalist Sam Omatseye, thank you so much for giving us this piece. It's actually a beautiful read. Thank you so much. I wish you best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
And then thank you too for your company, BKO. It's been a good ride.